Hello everyone, you're welcome to FDsciences. So how are you doing? How are you finding your courses? Hope they are getting easier for you. So we're going to be treating on 40 parasitology questions you must know before sitting for any parasitology examination, especially in Nigerian universities, because these questions was accumulated in consideration of the experience and likely questions universities have in common, like repeated questions in this particular course called parasitology. So I'll be starting with number one without wasting much time so we can cover up before the seminar ends. So for number one, the sexual dimorphism in some parasite means what? So what comes to your mind in the first place is the meaning of sexual and dimorphism. That is the keyword you should pick in any question. So for answering any question, you must know the keyword in that question, like what you are asked for. So the sexual dimorphism in some parasite means what? Is the morphological variation between male and female parasites, or male is small always, or female is always oversized, or both male and female are equal? Actually, when they say dimorphism, it actually means two form. Like di means, as we know, di means two, abi. Then morphism is talking about the morphology, the form. So the form, that means there are two different forms of this parasite sexual this thing, sexual part. So the actual answer is the morphological variation. So since it has two forms, there is dimorphism, you understand, in the sexual distance, and this particular instance always occurs in ascaris. As you all know that ascaris, the female is larger than the male, is up to 15 to 50 cm, while the male is of 20 is up to 20 to 50, while the male is of 15 to 30. So actually the female ascaris is larger and longer than the male ascaris. So that is not only that, also the sexual dimorphism I actually meant here is something like the when you are studying of the gynecophoric canal of the cystosoma, you notice that the male actually has more sexual form than the female. The presence of the gynecophoric canal, which helps in carrying of the female, actually gives their sexual organs a variation. Then, as you can see in this picture, this is the picture of ascaris. Actually, this is an ascaris picture. As you can see, the male is smaller than the female, and the female is larger than the male. So what you should also notice about this picture is that the I'll just add some important information in case if you see it in exam. So the anterior part of this female you are seeing now contains the sexual organ, which covers the 1/3 of this anterior part. So the sexual organs covers the 1/3 of the anterior part of the female, while the of the male, it covers the posterior part of the male. That is their sexual organs. Then we move over to the second question without wasting much time. So one of these is not a filarial worm. One of these is not a filarial worm. So when we talk about filarial worms, what actually comes to our mind? They have filarial worms. So according to what I have here, the filarial worms are thread-like parasites. Most of them are nematodes, and they are transmitted by arthropod vectors. That is not their main characteristics. The main characteristics is that they are thread-like parasites, which gives them the form of filaria. Then the adult worms inhabit specific tissues where they mate and produce microfilaria, which is the infective stage. The characteristic tiny thread-like larvae. So they cause the disease states called lymphatic filariasis, also known as elephantiasis, as the common name. So these filarial worms, they cause the disease state called elephantiasis, which is the accumulation of lymphs in mostly in limbs. So this elephantiasis is actually accumulation of limbs of watery substance in limbs. that actually happens in the limbs up and mostly lower limbs, you understand. So the accumulation of this watery substance in lymphatic system mostly at the lower limb causes elephantiasis, which is the common name of lymphatic filariasis. So now we have an example, an image that is showing someone suffering from this particular disease. As you can see in the picture, the woman is suffering from lymphatic filariasis, otherwise known as elephantiasis. So this is the accumulation of those worms causing watery substances in lymph nodes, according in this part B of the picture. So now of the image actually. So here are a few examples of filarial worms. We have the Uchera bancrofti, which is responsible for most cases, and also we have the Brugia malayi, which is responsible for other cases, and also we have the Brugia timori, which causes less of the disease state. So now in the option we have Uchera bancrofti, which is actually one of the filarial worms, and Brugia amali, actually one of them. Then Trichinella species is actually one of them. Trichinella is a nematode thread-like worm, so it's actually part of the filarial worms. What about Onchocerca volvus? No, it doesn't belong to any of them. So the wrong one there is Onchocerca volvus. So we move over to the next question. The next question states, one of these is not a factor in transmission of nematode parasites. So nematode parasites, if you should look to the life cycle of nematode parasites, let's make use of one particular parasite, like the common nematode parasite that we all know, which is the Ascaris lubricoides. When we're talking about Ascaris lubricoides, you see that it's been contaminated through fecal oral route. What am I even saying? It's being contaminated by direct penetration. So now it has a direct life cycle, which means the parasite itself moves into your body without a vector or any means at all. So um, it actually does what you call active penetration into your body. So it's either gotten from heavy rainfall or even contaminated through fecal oral route by eating vegetables like unwashed or undercooked vegetables, and also flooding. Flooding also can cause wet grounds and increase the rate of its movement and also the weather condition that suits its living, you understand. So and also the infected vegetable that I've talked about. Then what about sleeping without mosquito nets? So there's no way this sleeping without mosquito nets suits or is aligned with what we are discussing in nematode parasite. Is actually the D answer. It's actually that D is the answer. So which is not ways of its transmission. Then for the fourth one, which life stage of hookworms can infect man? This is a very strong question, and most of you will be confused because it involves larva. So what comes to your mind in larva state is actually the molting state. So larva, all these first larva, third larva stage, fourth larva stage, second larva stage, they are actually the molting forms that occurs in development of plants or of the development of a parasite or organism mostly. So we have the first larva stage. They asked which life stage of hookworms can infect man. We have the first larva stage, we have the microfilaria, we have the third larva stage, and we have the second larva stage. Actually, the answer, before I answer it, I would like to move to the let's make use of one of the hookworms. Like I've mentioned, we have three hookworms. We have three common hookworms that we discuss in parasitology, so which are Necata americanus, Dedonalis, and so on. So well, let's discuss on the life cycle of Necata americanus precisely. So when discussing about the life cycle of Necata americanus, which is one of the nematode hookworms, you see that the Necata americanus actually hatch as their first larva stage. At this their first larva stage, they undergo what we call molting. They undergo twice molting, like on each stage on the ground to reach the third stage. So it actually undergoes two molting. Like the first larva stage, which is known as the rabidity form, undergoes extra molting, like after it's molting to the second stage, it undergoes extra molting to make it wise to form the L3 filarial form, which is actually the infective stage, like the stage it gets into the body. You understand? That is the infective stage of hookworms, and we made use of Necato americanus. So now the fifth question is, the zoophilic species of hookworms are the common cause of what? So now, when we come to the hookworms, apart from the Necata americanus and so on, we also have hookworms that these Necata americanus are just the hookworms that we know. Like they are the three basic hookworms for parasitic living, and they are nematodes. We also have other hookworms that take part in zoophilic actions. When I mean zoophilic, I mean they can be transferred easily from, the disease state can be shared between plants, between animals and man. You understand? That is the meaning of zoophilic species of hookworms. So the actual cause of creeping eruption, I'll just go straight to the answer. The actual cause of creeping eruption is caused by the zoophilic species of hookworms. Note that. Then number 6 says the rectal scraping specimen from a patient is for diagnosis of what? The rectal scraping specimen from a patient is for diagnosis of what? Rectal scraping is actually making use of um, any material to scrape off, okay, or scrape up a diagnosing material, a diagnosing stuff to know the actual cause of a disease. So in diagnosis, if you want to know the actual cause of a particular disease, you have to involve different methods. You either use the stool examination or you use sputum. But in this case, rectal scraping involves which of the following here. So for the intestinal cystosomiasis, is talking about the cystosomiasis. We have the main one, which is the hematobium, cystosomal hematobium, that can be found in urine, because it affects actually the urinary bladder, the urinary system. Yes. Then talking about the other ones, the Menkogi, the Masoni, cystosoma, they are the ones that actually invades the large intestine. So they produce they are found in they can be diagnosed through stool, because um they make their way through fecal distance, through formed feces. That is where you can find their infective stage, and it can be diagnosed through their feces, just like how the just like how entamoeba heterozygote can be diagnosed through stool. So we are coming to tenure solum. Tenure solum actually is also a trematode parasite. What I mean trematode is a flatworm parasite, and can it be diagnosed through rectal scraping? The actual answer is actually no, because it can find in stool. Then trichurus trichura can in some cases found in stool, but in rare cases. So that is when you involve the use of spatula to, or any material to remove or to scrape the sides of the anus, you understand, to get the actual point. So our answer is the trichurus trichura. So now coming to the pediculus species. Pediculus species is actually a parasite on its own. Is a head tick. Like what I mean, it's a parasite that lives in the hair. It's a hair tick parasite. Yes. Then what you should also note is that sometimes few parasites found in stool can in any case be diagnosed through rectal scraping. Like some of these parasites I called here, some most even cystosoma can also be diagnosed through rectal scraping, but it's in rare cases. What we choose the best fitted option. Note to that. Then for the seventh question, we are treating on the microfilaria. Microfilaria is a term that describes what? Microfilaria. Whenever you hear of microfilaria, what comes to your mind? Microfilaria it's a word on its own, and emia actually means a word on its own. So whenever you hear of hemia, like hemia, hem means blood. As you all know, hem means blood, and microfilaria means what? it's a parasite. So now, what does it mean? It means the presence of water in blood. I don't think that is the answer. The infectious stage of a worm, that is not the answer. Then the presence of microfilariae in the blood. So this is actually the this is actual meaning of it in another form. The presence of microfilariae in blood, because the microfilaria itself has entered into the sentence, and the addition of emia, which indicates blood, is being substituted in the option C. So the absence of adult worm is actually long. So our answer here is the presence of microfilaria in the blood. So that is the answer. The enzyme secreted by ascaris, which is I'm talking about the eighth question we have here. The eighth question we have here. We have the enzyme secreted by ascaris species, which enable it to inhibit host protein assimilation, is called what? So as we all know that pepsin and trypsin, there are actually enzymes found in the body that helps in breakdown of foodstuffs and this. Then proteinase is actually an enzyme that initiates or catalyze this breaking down of food caused by pepsin and trypsin. Then what about ascaris? Even from the name, you know that the ascaris is the answer. Ascaris is what is being secreted by the ascaris species. Then number 9 says the commonest way of contacting trichocanalysis is by what? Is it sleeping naked or drinking water contaminated with infected cyclops, or swimming, or number C, which is swimming in ponds or walking around barefoot? So looking at this trichocanalysis, which is called by Drancucus medinensis, can you contact this disease through sleeping naked? Like, it doesn't make sense. So, and what about swimming in ponds? It actually gives it a hint, but the swimming in ponds is mainly for parasites like hematobium that gives a direct penetration, and other ones for ascaris, in which you get contacted on land, or mainly through dirty environments, wet ground. That is for ascaris. Then walking around barefoot is actually concerned with ascaris also. Then our left option here is drinking water with infected cyclops. So drinking water with infected cyclops is the main cause of drancuculiasis, and the parasite involved is what? Drancuculis medinensis, which is commonly known as guinea worm, and its longest nematode that infects humans. You also note this, that Drancucus medinensis is longest nematode that infects human. So this is the life cycle of the medinensis. If you look through it, you see that the larva, the infective stage is when the human drinks unfiltered water containing cyclopods with healthy larva cells. So the infective stage of this drancuculiasis is what? Is the L3 stage. You should note that it do come out in exam, most university exam or tertiary university exam. Any exam you are preparing for, you should note that the infective stage of Drancucus medinensis is L3 larva stage, by drinking water that is containing cyclops. So for the next question, the two basic types of nematode excretory system are dash and dash. So for nematode, if you go under the classification, you see where they wrote the Phasmidae. Nematode are under the classification Phasmidae, and also aphasmid that actually helps in sensory. They are called the sensory organs in nematodes. So there's no way they are concerned with excretory system. So it's actually off. Option A is off. Then for B, the glandular and cells. Let's look at option C first. So the glandular and tubular. So then what about option D? Option D says phlegm cells and nephrida, which is actually used for excretion in platyhelminthes and other ones for human nephrida. Then the glandular and the tubular is actually the right answer, because when we talk about the granular and cells, it doesn't make any sense. We are talking about the exact organ for its excretion, which is the granular and the tubular. So our actual answer is B. Our answer is C, which is granular and tubular. So number 11 says, what specimen will be used for diagnosis of intestinal nematodes parasites? So what specimen will be used for diagnosis of intestinal nematode parasites? So I'm not asking you what specimen are we going to use in this case. Like I've been singing it all along. Nematode parasite, the infective state, which is L2, is found where? Is found in stool, because it actually is concerned with large and small intestine. So they are excreted and they are found in stool. That is the infective stage, which is L2 larva stage. The infective stage of nematode is found in stool. So the stool can actually be used in diagnosis to indicate the presence of the parasite Ascaris lubricoides, which is one of the nematode parasites. So now for the next question, which is number 12, we have a parasite life cycle in which a parasite has life stages which alternates between an intermediate host and a definite host is called dash. We have option A as direct life cycle. We have option B as heterogeneous or indirect life cycle, and we have option C as dioecious. So when we talk about, let's eliminate dioecious first, because dioecious is actually concerned with plants having sex organs in different parts, in different body, in different plants, like having different sex organs in different plants. So that is the meaning of dioecious in plants. Then coming to direct life cycle, direct life cycle cannot be involved in parasite that alternates between. So it alternates between something. It's not a direct parasite. So for direct life cycle, we can call a parasite like Ascaris lubricoides and Enterobus vermicularis. But for heterogeneous, for indirect life cycle, we have two forms, which are the homogeneous and the heterogeneous. And for the homogeneous, we can call a parasite like Schistosoma species the homogeneous parasite. That means they have one intermediate host, which is homo, which means one. But for heterogeneous, it means they have two intermediate hosts apart from the definitive host. So we all know that an intermediate host is where the asexual life cycle of the parasite is being attained, while the direct life cycle is where the definitive host is where the sexual life cycle is being attained. So now the direct life cycle only doesn't have any intermediate host at all. It just penetrates straight to the definitive host and infect it as a parasite. Then for the second options, which is the answer, like I was saying, that the heterogeneous or indirect life cycle is actually the answer. Indirect life cycle, we have the homogeneous and the heterogeneous, of which the homogeneous is Schistosoma species as an example, and the heterogeneous, we have the Diphyllobothrium latum that makes use of two intermediate cells known as the cyclopes and the fish. So it parasitizes these cyclopes and fish before gaining its entrance into the human body through swimming or any means when you come into the river to make your swimming, that kind of thing. So for 13, we have the free living class of the flatworms are called. So the free living class of the flatworms are called. Planaria is actually a free living flatworm. So we're talking about it in general. So Planaria is out. What about Trematoda? Trematoda is actually they are the main flatworms parasites. Then what about monogenes parasites? So the monogene parasites are also called ectoparasites. So they don't have any information that we need for our answer. So we're looking at Tubularia. Tubularia are actually free living flatworm parasites. So our answer is Tubularia. Then for number 14, the infective tissue in Bilharziasis is what? is the infective tissue schistosomiasis. Another name for schistosomiasis is biasiasis, caused by schistosoma, hematobium, mansorini, mekongi. Different it depends on the actual parasites, because hematobium is found in urine, like it actually indicates its form. It has a variant. It has a variant with other cystosomal parasite like menkogi and masoni. So the infected tissue in biasiasis caused by the main parasites, which is Schistosoma hematobium, is what? Is it the intestine or liver or blood or bone? So the answer is actually the liver. You should note this. If you look at the life cycle we have here, they say the Sacchardia lose stage during penetration and become schistosomal. That is when they penetrate into the body, and they migrate to the portal blood in liver and mature into adults. So their maturation into adults will actually occupy a space in the liver and cause some infections, and you know what happens then. Then for number 15, teniasis is caused by one of these disease. So is it I. gangatica or T. sagillata or T. hematobium or T. solum? So the actual answer, I'll just move straight to the answer. Tenia saginata, also known as the beef tapeworm, is considered as the main cause of teniasis. It is more prevalent worldwide compared to Tenia solum. So the actual answer is Tenia saginata, since it's more prevalent compared to Tenia solum, and it's gotten from pork meat. So it's actually a zoophilic disease. Teniasis is a zoophilic disease because it has a relationship with disease states in animal and also in man. Blah blah blah. All these things, we don't need it. So let's move to the next questions. The infected tissue in paragonomiasis is dash. So paragonomiasis is actually caused by which parasites? The parasites I know and which you know is Paragonomius immus, which can be found in lung, and diagnosis is through sputum. Sputum is a specimen that you get from lungs using your material for diagnosis. So the answer is lung. Infected tissue in paragonomiasis is found in the site in which the parasite dwells. Note this. So it's the lung that is the answer. Then for 17, we have teniasis is caused by that stage, while cysticercosis is with that stage of the causal tapeworm respectively. So respectively, teniasis is caused by the adult stage, while cysticercosis is caused by the larval stage. So note this. Then number 18, the class of flaton which are mainly ectoparasite, like we said earlier, like we said in question number 13 about the monogenes, that they are ectoparasites. So the question is actually repeating itself here. The class of flatons which are mainly ectoparasites are, the answer is monogenes parasite. They are ectoparasites. So number 19 says one of the following is not a prophylaxis of trichuriasis. So I'll start by explaining the meaning of prophylaxis. Prophylaxis of trichuriasis, which is an infection caused by wipeworm, is Trichulis trichula, involves in preventive measures aimed at reducing risk of infection. So prophylaxis is actually the infective measures aimed at reducing the risk of infection of that Trichulis trichura. So the ways we can avoid ourselves from being contaminated from this trichura is by improving our sanitation, proper human waste disposal, education and health promotion, soil and environmental management, and deworming programs. So our answer here stays one of the following is not prophylaxis of trichuriasis. We talk about sanitary disposal of feces, avoiding consumption of raw vegetable, treatment of infected persons, and none of the above. One of these is not prophylaxis. The answer is none of the above actually. So because sanitary disposal is among them, avoiding consumption of raw vegetables is among them, and treatment of infected person is the ways of reducing trichuriasis. Then coming to the last question in this part is, which of the following is not a type of interaction among organisms? So which of the following is not a type of interaction among organisms? Is it parasitism or commensalism or peronism or mutualism? So what do you think is the answer? Let me leave you to answer this one. Or okay, should I answer it? Let me just answer the question. So we start from the last option. Mutualism. Mutualism, as you all know, is among the interaction that involves mutual relationship between two organisms. An example of an example of a place where this can be noticed is in lichen that has fungi and algae. They depend on itself. They depend on themselves for feeding and nutrition. Then for peronism is actually out because it doesn't have anything concerned with biology or parasitology. So peronism is concerned with the social and political movement that originated in blah 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 that invented that they were invented to dissolve or to come to a place. It's actually involved with political and civil duties and activities. So it's actually out. Is it commensalism? As you all know, commensalism is part of um, symbiosis. Then is it parasitism? Parasitism is actually a modernized form of relationship. So the answer is peronism is actually out. So thank you and God bless you for listening to this part A, 40 parasitology questions you should know before sitting for any parasitology exam. I hope you like, share and comment also. You can forward this to different groups of your school and inform your friends also. There's no way you listen to this and get everything I've said there without and enter the exam hall and not to find yourself not getting like 70% of the questions. I've summarized almost all the whole parasitology in this notes like I've said now. So while we await for this part B, I'd like you to move through the notes. If you have any question, you can ask that on the comment section and I will get back to you with a video. Thank you and God bless you.